It's the most wonderful time of the year. And I'm not talking about sunscreen. I'm not talking about mosquito bite juice or mosquito, what do you call it? Off. I'm not talking about
bug repellent.
Bug repellent. Thank
Yeah.
you. Mosquito repellent. I'm not talking about the fact that it's swimsuit weather. I'm not talking about any of those things, Kyle. What am I talking about? What is the most wonderful time of the year?
Summer movie season.
Summer movie season.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah. And it's not any of those things because it is like 52 degrees in Nashville today. It is it's very cold on Cinco de Mayo.
That's very fair. That is very fair. It is certainly those things for sure.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm really excited to do this. It's been a little while. I'm kind of pumped. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah.
Since you're not commuting as much anymore, we don't talk all the time, and so like I've missed talking to you, talking about these things. And so one of the things we're trying to do when we get the summer movie season spectacular, whatever we're going to call this this particular season, we're trying not to talk too much about what we're going to watch, but we got movies we're about to watch this summer, and we're going to break them down for our beloved fans.
Yeah, man. We got together, maybe a month and a half ago. We're like, hey, this summer's got some amazing movies. We need to fire back up the pod, and we need to feature summer movies. So we've mapped out at least 5.
Yes.
We'll say that. We've mapped out at least 5 episodes. And, we might have some surprises. We might do a real-time reaction, like we just got back from the theater, record, here's our unfiltered thoughts.
Yeah.
Or we may even do one together. We've got some big plans. It's going to be great.
Big plans.
Big plans.
Gonna be awesome.
Big plans. So So Jay, what we're going to do tonight, and what we're going to discuss, and probably everyone knows where we're going, is the big movie release from last weekend. We're going to talk about the Thunderbolts.
The Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts.
The Thunderbolts. Asterisk.
Yeah. And so we've kind of talked about how we want to review this movie, want to break it down. So we're going to kind of walk through that. But I think we need to say on the front end that we will start at the beginning with just overall, general thoughts. And when we get to spoiler territory, we will let you know, so that if you haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, if you are, waiting for some reason, if you're just, whenever it comes to Disney Plus, that's when I'll watch it. If that's your thing, then you'll know when to bail. All right.
I actually heard a buddy say that like 2 days ago. I'm going to watch it when it comes on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's yeah. We may address that when we get down to that point in the order of service.
So we're going to give our 30-second reviews. We're going to be a little spoiler free.
Yes.
And then we're going to go like, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Spoiler. We're going to do that. Then we're going to get into it. Boom.
Hey, now that the Pope is gone, it really does harken back to our season 1 theme of boom.
Are you running for the Pope?
I guess. I mean, I'm not Catholic, but I guess any Christian might be eligible. It's sort of like if you're a Christian, you're in the pool on some level. So
how does he do that? How does the Pope do his thing? Is it like this?
I can't see. Is it like this thing?
I don't know.
That's the Trinity. I don't know. I don't know. Let's do this, Jay. Boom. Give me your 30-second review. Let me get my clock going. Your 30-second review, spoilerific, spoiler free, not spoilerific, spoiler free.
I'm gonna pause you real quick. We're about to jump into it, but I got to talk about something. I got to deal with something. I got to address something.
Oh yeah, we'll address it.
This is off topic and it's out of nowhere, but I was hoping you'd notice it, and so I just need to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Do you see this hat?
I see the Tennessee Titan hat. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a number 1 draft pick type hat. I have decided that Cam Ward is the future.
He's your guy.
And we're going to be awesome.
Okay. All right.
Mark it down in May. I'm calling it.
Okay. All right. Well, hey man, more power to you. I've got a 2nd round pick that I'm hoping is his collarbone holds up and his broken leg holds up. And yeah.
Well, I'm raising the roof for Cam Ward. Me and what's Phil Sims' kid's name? Chris Sims.
Chris Sims. Yeah.
Me and Chris Sims. We believe that Cam Ward is fantastic, and he's going to be awesome.
Well, Warren Moon gave him his jersey number, and Warren Moon is a great Oiler, not a Titan, but a great Oiler. From the past, the ancient past of the Tennessee Titan lineage history. So, maybe if he's Warren Moon, you got a good one.
We can cut all this if we want to. I just needed to talk about the Titans because
I hear you.
I'm pretty excited, and I haven't really gone on record about that. So,
well, let's roll with it. All right, Jay.
Okay.
30-second spoiler free Thunderbolts review. 3, 2, 1, go.
The Thunderbolts is a movie about a bunch of Marvel cast-offs. None of these people are really a big deal. The closest one to being a big deal is Bucky Barnes. Whatever the case, these throwaways come together and make a truly wonderful film. Probably one of the most well-written Marvel movies that we've seen in a long time. I loved it. I loved the heart behind it, and I think Florence Pugh is amazing. We already knew she was great, but she is amazing in this film.
All right. 29.33. Man, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I know. I've been working on it.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I was in the shower about an hour ago doing the same thing, working on it. So we'll see if I can remember what I rehersed.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear what you got. Okay, are you ready?
In the shower. Are you going to time me?
I got it. I'm ready.
Okay, ready? You count me down.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, go.
Thunderbolts asterisk is a lot of fun. It is equal parts fun. It is equal parts moving. It is equal parts paying homage or honor to some kind of forgotten castaway characters in the MCU. Some people who get a chance to shine who haven't shined in a while. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's a step in the right direction, and I like what it kind of spells maybe for the future of the MCU. So yeah, that's it.
That was pretty good. It was maybe a titch under 30, but
yeah, I petered out right toward the end. Yeah,
no, you did good. I think we're onto a theme though. It's almost like let's make Marvel great again is kind of, where I feel like Thunderbolts is heading. I don't know that this was the material that they could use to do phenomenal things. There are things that aren't perfect about it, but this is way better than anything we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I going to school this morning, knowing that we were going to record tonight, I asked both my sons, who I took to see the movie on Saturday, and I was like, guys, give me your review. What did you think? And my oldest son Noah said this was the best Marvel movie since No Way Home. And I was like, yeah, I think I might could get on board with that. I enjoyed Brave New World. I don't know if I'll revisit it, and if I watched it a second time, if I would like it. Mm-hmm. But I think this is the best one in a long time. I'm not ready to quantify, the best one since, but it's the best one in a long time, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, without getting into spoilers just yet, I feel like the ensemble cast did it. I mean, it worked. Florence Pugh, great. Sebastian Stan, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Lewis Pullman, great. David Harbour, hilarious. Wyatt Russell, I really enjoyed. I don't know what to say about Julia Louis-Dreyfus. That's probably for the spoilers portion of it. But I mean, as far as an ensemble cast, man, I just thought it was really, really well done and really good. And I actually cared about these people a little more than I expected to.
Yeah. So let's move into probably some spoiler. I don't know if we can talk about this without getting into spoiler, but I'd love to know from your seat, what were the themes that emerged from this film? And let's do it. Let's call the spoiler warning. Boom. Okay. Spoiler alert. Boom. Spoiler alert. Earmuffs. Boom. You put your earmuffs on, you can say anything.
You've got You've had your warning. Here we go. We're about to jump into it.
Themes, Jay. What were the themes that jumped out to you, that emerged to you from Thunderbolts asterisk?
Redemption. People that had done bad things now wanting to try to do good things. Trauma. The theme of trauma and kind of what it does. I don't know if that's a theme, but like it was definitely a topic.
Yeah,
that was there. I think if there are themes of like the importance of community and friendship and empathy, like just caring, like actually choosing to care, I think was pretty good. I think that those are probably the biggest ones for me. I think that this movie does a lot of really, really, really interesting things that I don't know that I've seen Marvel handle with such care and dignity.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'd say as far as themes. What about you, buddy?
Yeah, the first, so I saw it twice. I got the Regal Unlimited. I'm so excited. So now I can go to a movie for 55 cents. Yeah, it's so exciting. So I saw it Thursday night when it opened, and I saw it again Saturday morning. And I can say this, that Thursday night I had an expectation of what I thought it was going to be, and it wasn't quite that. And so I was slightly disappointed. I mean, I enjoyed it. I liked it. But watching it the second time on Saturday without those expectations, knowing what it was going to be, like it hit me in a totally different way. The moments that made me emotional the first time made me emotional the second time, like the moments that made me laugh the first time made me laugh the second time. But I was able to watch it more from a place of like, hey, I'm going to receive this for what it is versus what I want it to be. And we can talk a little later, but maybe about what I wanted it to be or what I thought it was going to be, and how maybe what they did was better, honestly, in some ways. But for me, themes that emerged, and in my first viewing, the theme that really emerged to me was loneliness, and how like that is, and how a superhero grapples with loneliness. I was really taken with the scene, Yelena talking about, I come home, I drink myself to sleep. I look at my phone and I go to work and I come back home and do it all again. And there's no one there, and I was like, it's a silly superhero movie, but my goodness, like how many people is that their life? Like how many people is like, that's, they don't have anybody in their life. They go to work, they interact with work people. Maybe they come home, they look at their phone, they watch TV, whatever, they have a drink, they go to bed, they do it all over again the next day. And that really hit me. That really kind of hit me hard. And that's something I have never seen in a superhero movie. I think I told you the closest thing maybe, and it wasn't mentioned, but it was just sort of shown. It was shown, not said, was maybe Man of Steel, Superman, when he, Clark Kent, when he's kind of wandering, trying to figure out his purpose, after Jonathan Kent died, and it's before he's, become Superman or whatever. Like maybe that was the only time where superhero movies ever even gotten to that point of, loneliness. Maybe some in the Guardians, just a slight kind of tinge of that, but this is the one that was the most like in your face, like, hey, loneliness is a thing, and super people face it too. So I thought that was really powerful, a really powerful theme. And what I'm not lonely for is the dog that's barking. I don't know if you can hear that. Apologies, listeners, if you hear my neighbor's dog. He's so mad that I'm in here. He's just so upset at that. What can I do though? What can I do?
Nothing. It's fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll take it out in post.
Hey, and you're lucky you don't have smell around vision here, because I think a skunk crawled up under my deck, which is right outside. On the other side of this camera is my deck, and I think there's a skunk that crawled up under there and died. So, yeah.
I think it's really cool that you're trying to blame that smell on a skunk, Kyle.
There's nobody boiling cabbage up in this house. No, So themes. Yeah. I think the themes were really powerful. I
think one of the things that always makes Marvel characters in particularly a little different from DC characters has to do with their relatability. And I think this concept that you talk about with loneliness and the way she approached it made it very relatable. Very much. Somebody sitting there listening to her talk. They don't have to have superpowers or have been in the red room to feel the way they feel about those things.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe now's a good time to talk about it. I think what I wanted out of this movie that I didn't get.
Hold on.
Okay.
We're supposed to talk about things we liked about it, right?
Okay, well, let's go to that. Okay,
let's go positive, and then we'll go negative.
Okay, that's not negative. It's just what my expectation was versus what it was. But yeah, we'll save it. We'll save it. Yeah. What did you like, Jay? What stood out to you as something that you really liked from this movie? And it doesn't necessarily have to be the emotional, the weighty. It could be, whatever. What's something that you liked?
I'll give you a little quick quiz here, okay?
Yeah.
Did you care about John Walker before this movie started?
Not much. Yeah, not much.
Did you care? Do you even know who Ava Starr is?
Yeah, because I like the Ant-Man movies, except for the most recent one. So I knew that she was Ghost from Ant-Man.
Did you really care about Yelena? Like, did you really care about the Black Widow?
let me tell you this about Ghost. I didn't know her real name. I didn't know her like, you know, I didn't know her Christian name, Doc.
Yeah. A given name.
A given name. But yes, did I care about Yelena? You know what? I really enjoyed. I was one of the weirdos that really enjoyed Black Widow. I thought it was fun.
But I mean, like, it's not like you weren't hoping she was going to make another Black Widow film. Like, we weren't hoping to see Red Guardian again.
Yeah. I think some of it though is Florence Pugh. I mean, like you said in your 30-second review, that girl can act. Holy cow, she's so good.
In one film, she was an assassin. We believed her.
Yeah.
She was depressed and lonely. We believed her. She was a smart aleck. We believed her. She was empathetic, and the way she cared for several of the characters. The throwaway line about Taskmaster. The way it was like, leave her alone. She had a hard life. That was powerful. But then to be able to turn and to be talking to her father and to sound like a little girl who's wounded, heartbreaking.
Yeah. When she called him daddy, I was like, whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. She's fantastic.
I don't know if there's been a more nuanced performance when it comes to Marvel characters. Think about that. The closest might be Tony Stark. But even there, it was like he went from being a sarcastic genius to being a slightly empathetic, caring genius, but there wasn't really,
but still sarcastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Evans, he's earnest all the way.
Right.
Chadwick Boseman, honorable. But like the ride that we took with Yelena, I don't know that there's another.
Maybe Scarlett Johansson in Endgame, she's kind of trying to hold the world together alone, and her death scene, I mean, spoiler, come on, if you haven't seen Endgame now, why are you listening to this?
Yeah.
But her willingness to sacrifice herself for Clint,
Bruce Willis is dead in Sixth Sense too. I just want to say it.
He's dead the whole time.
Yeah, he's
except
dead.
for like the very first beginning of the movie. Yeah. So anyway, maybe that would give her a run for her money, and just in terms of like a singular performance in a film. I need to think about that.
The range to go from all those things and to be believable. I mean, to be believable as a assassin who can flip and catch and throw and do all those things. And I don't know, man. I just thought it was an exceptional performance.
Yeah.
David Harbour was very one note, but man, I love that note. Like, that was a great note.
Yeah. He is, like equal parts, like, this is silly, but, and typically I'm pretty critical of silly Marvel. I can't stand the Taika Waititi movies. I don't like silly Thor.
Yeah.
I like funny Thor. I don't like silly Thor, but his silliness, really cracks me up. But at the same time, how he can pull out a poignant, I wasn't there for you, but I'm here now.
Yeah.
Once again, where's the tissues?
Yeah.
That was just powerful.
Let's see if I can take not like about it. I mean, if we're going to talk about something that I just loved, I felt like it was probably the best superhero film that has ever been made that deals with trauma. The shame room is a phrase that keeps, it kind of sneaks up and hits you, and you start thinking about your own shame rooms and the way they kind of handle that. I just thought was outrageously effective. If you've been I think that if you've experienced trauma in your life that you can't let go of, this movie is probably going to be one of your favorite superhero movies because they handle it with such delicacy.
Yeah.
EMDR is a useful psychological tool. And one of the things that you do in that tool is, in a safe place, you are brought back to kind of reenact your shame room. And older you is there with younger you when the trauma that happened. And they did that many times with Yelena to a point where there's this one scene where she's about to see something horrific and Herman traumatic, and older Yelena covers younger Yelena's ears and covers her from seeing it, having to hear it. And so that motion is creating safety. It's creating someone who is caring for you and taking care of you and letting you know that you're going to be okay. And that's just incredibly poignant that I just didn't expect to see in a Thunderbolts asterisk movie.
Yeah. Oh, no question. I mean, I definitely hoped and thought it was going to be about redemption, but what I was expecting was, the emotions of, what you got in Endgame, or what you get in, in any of the other films that sort of through storytelling make you feel emotions, when Tony Stark sacrifices his life, I am Iron Man, like that moves you because of the story, because, not because of like the real world implications, like this was, real world, real life, stuff.
Yeah. And in the real world, one therapy session doesn't change you.
Right.
In the real world, you don't just hug yourself back to healing.
Right.
One of the best things about the way the film ended for me, and it was even in the end credit scene, I think was Bob sitting over there in the corner to himself.
Yeah.
He was the most troubled person in the whole film. And a lot of it was about saving him from himself.
Right.
Well, you can't really save anybody from themselves. That's something that they have to do. And what they did was they showed him love and support, and he's on this journey of healing. And so I think Sentry might be pretty significant in future films.
He's invincible.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he's Neo and Superman rolled into one.
Which is we're probably very on the cusp of talking about the things we didn't like. But
yes, we're getting close. Yeah.
I just think seeing him sitting there still mopey and still trying to figure it out, not knowing how to control his powers, which would be, his life and emotion, but taking steps towards that. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think there's anything more when it comes to redemption or redemptive stuff. Like, you don't just snap and everything's better, especially when it comes to addiction. It's one day at a time. It's one step at a time. It's making the right choice over and over and over. And before you slip off back into that void, which is really one quick step into the darkness. And I felt like they handled all that really, really well.
Unless Robin Williams is there and he tells you over and over again, it's not your fault, Bob. It's not your fault, Bob.
I don't know if you've seen that lately, but that hits. It still lands. I wanted to hug both of them. Oh my goodness. But I think it's one of the closer resolutions of a film that doesn't really promote violence in some way. Like the bad guy isn't beat to death.
Yeah. Well, that's, we talked about, okay, let's just do it. Let's talk to what we don't like, what we didn't like about it. We're there. We talked about this already. We both didn't like that. You kind of knew the whole movie from the trailer.
Yes.
We didn't like that.
No.
So I knew from the trailer that, these people are the Thunderbolts. They punch and kick and shoot. And,
we punch and we kick and we shoot and we can't.
Yeah. But they don't have superpowers, really. I mean, they're super soldiers, but don't have superpowers. I guess ghosts can come and go, phase herself in and out. But, I knew that when she was looking into the darkness, I was like, well, she's going to have to go in there and beat him in there. I in my mind, again, I thought she's going to have to go in there and fight him, not go in there and hug him. That was subverted expectations. But I knew that's how it was going to resolve. People who shoot and punch can't, unless it's a DC movie, people who shoot and punch can't beat gods. They can in DC. Go see the original Suicide Squad. They blew up a god with a hand grenade. Just, that's pretty awful. Anyway, all that to say, and Suicide Squad is the 1-to-1, for this film. The misfits, the bad guys, trying to do something good. It's not quite 1-to-1, maybe, apples to oranges slightly, but it's in the same vein.
Way better written, by the way.
Oh yeah. Way better. So I didn't like that. That basically the whole movie was spoiled via the trailer. If you have a little bit of discernment, if you have a little bit of, I've seen a trailer before and I've seen a Marvel movie before and I can put 2 and 2 together, that sort of thing. What about you? What about it didn't you like?
I got a list.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, for a
And
movie I love.
and me too. And me too.
Yeah,
I've
for a
got
movie I
more
loved.
things.
For a movie I loved, I've got a list. Um, I don't know if I ever want to see another trailer for a film ever again. I feel like if I hadn't seen any trailers, I would have been just gobsmacked. I would have thought it was the coolest thing ever, the greatest movie ever if I hadn't seen anything. But like if I had for the first time in the theater watched somebody get shadowed, I'd have been like like it would have hit. Like it would have hit.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have seen Bucky Barnes full attack of those 3 Humvees beforehand,
Right.
I would have thought that was a really cool action scene.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I wonder, when you went and watched it the second time, were you more impressed by the action sequences than you were the first time because you had kind of seen all the stuff in the trailer? Like, were you able to kind of go back and be like, oh, this film did have quite a bit of action in it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, simply because I was totally unarmed. I was disarmed, like I knew it was going to happen. I didn't have to worry about where the story was going or how they're going to get A to B,
But just the artful pieces of the first action fight with Yelena overhead. It was almost like a karate ballet where she's taking out all these security guards, and what you see is her dancing with shadows.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Next fight, they're all 4 fighting against each other, and there's this scene where a knife gets tossed around, and the knife goes through the progression of who's trying to kill who.
Yeah.
Dude, that was cool. That was like cool action. Bucky, like the Matrix, beginning of Matrix scene when they're in the bottom floor of the place and they're just wiping people out. Like, those are some really good action sequences that for the most part, I wasn't super impressed with around watch 1. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, oh, there was some really good action stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. There really was. Yeah. And the trailer didn't do it any favors in that regard.
No.
However, a trailer does get me really excited. So I'm going to keep watching,
Okay, let's talk good trailer, bad trailer.
Okay.
Good trailer, the one where they talk about all the production people and their backgrounds and like kind of letting you know that this is going to be a cooler than you think film.
Yeah.
That's a good trailer.
Yeah.
Bad trailer. Hey, I'm going to show you the beginning, middle, and end, and I'm going to pretend like you don't know that Bob is going to be a superhero who blacks everybody out. Like,
right.
No.
Or that Taskmaster's not in this movie. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. She gets taken out real quick. She's in there for about 30 seconds.
Okay. I have a dumb one. That it's like let's just see things I don't care about. Like, I did not like Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. I did not like her.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed with her. I felt like out of all the times I've seen her, it's campy and silly and whatever. It just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
That being said, what drove me the most insane was whoever this guy named Holt was. Like, they said Holt's name so many times. I don't even know if he had a line. Did he have a sentence?
Yeah, he was the old guy in the helicopter.
Yes. He looked like Michael Ironside.
Yeah.
He looked like
yeah. Yeah, he was an old dude. And he was the one about non-lethal. He was like, but I've spent all this time preparing for lethal.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, but I'm just like, why do we know your name? Do we need to know your name?
Yeah. Yeah.
And why do we say it so much? It was weird.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So sometimes, you watch a movie and you're like, you're in a different movie, like one of the characters. And I felt like, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's performance a little bit was from a different movie, possibly, it just wasn't, it didn't quite fit with the rest of it. To some degree.
They could have done, I think they could have given her a better shot at grounding that character a little bit more in this role. She was over the top too much.
Yeah.
And didn't care for it.
I liked it when she touched Robert and she went into her, shame room. I thought, okay, maybe they're going to add some depth to this character, and they kept her alive, so it's possible that, and she's still in her position, Secretary of Defense. Is that what she was?
A director of the CIA.
Oh, director of CIA. Okay, man, Thunderbolt Ross could put together a bang up cabinet, couldn't he?
Yes, yes, he could.
Anyway, all that to say, he's not the president anymore. He's in a floating facility, and so I was thinking about that during the movie. Wouldn't the next president just pardon him, or is Red Hulk too dangerous to be not in a floating?
Yeah,
That's typically what happens.
I don't think President Ross is in that arc. I think that it's Red Hulk that's in that arc.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so that's neither here nor there.
Another kind of, if we're talking about Julia, talking about Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
De Fontaine, not Fontaine. De Fontaine.
I borderline wanted to throw up in my mouth when she walked through a tarp and there was a press conference.
Yeah, I felt like that might have been a reshoot ending,
Probably,
because it seemed a little bit like this seemed, because so remember what had just taken place. Bob was flying over in his Sentry, darkness, void. I don't know what you call him when he's dark and just two dots of light for his eyes, and he's shadowed all these people. And so that just happened. They've just come out of that. And yet somehow, and the whole city went to black. The whole city went to darkness. He encompassed the entire city of New York.
Yeah.
And somehow a press conference still got set up behind a tarp.
With 100 people.
With all these people for her to announce the new Avengers.
However, Lewis Pullman clapping like he was so excited about the new Avengers.
That was good.
Perfect.
And that leads to a very great segue. Okay. I loved Lewis Pullman. I loved his performance, but I didn't like his casting. And let me explain what I mean. Okay. He's too sweet. He's too angelic. Like, you look at him and he just looks like a guy that you want your sons to be friends with, or you want your daughter to date. Like, he looks like a good dude, like he looks nice. And he's supposedly playing this meth addict, dark night of the soul character. It just clashed. So they either needed to dirty him up a little bit, mess with his teeth, do something to make him look rough, do something to make him, not so cherubic, so angelic, if he's really going to be playing this role, but let him keep his inherent, sweetness. Cause I think you see that a lot. I think you see, people who are kind-hearted, sweet people who get into addiction, who get into some bad stuff. And you can see that, the way the Red Guardian said it, Alexei said it to Yelena earlier, is like the light in their eyes is gone. The light starts to vanish in their life, the light of their life. And so I see that happens. So they needed to, if they wanted to do that, they wanted to cast him, then you got to dirty him up a little bit. I think he was just too sweet in the way his appearance was. So that kind of bugged me a little bit, but I really liked Lewis Pullman. I liked his performance in the role. And I thought he was, I enjoyed his performance, but that incongruency kind of bugged me a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you. And I don't know that it's necessarily worth spending time arguing a point, but I will say Sentry, from a comic book standpoint and from a character standpoint, there's some I don't know, gimmicky storytelling. Like, when he becomes the Void, he loses all memory of kind of what he did. And so some of that amnesia, sweetheartedness does show up, I guess, in a sense, if you would think that he has no concept of what just happened.
Yeah.
I think that maybe to your point, when it comes to addiction, you have people that can be really sweet and really lighthearted and really kind, but they're also awful. And we didn't see any awful.
No, we saw no awful, apart from when he went into his, darkness and the things he did, just zapping children, that's pretty awful.
When he went into the Void. Yeah.
And by the way, as soon as that girl got zapped, I knew, okay, everybody's coming back, just like as soon as I saw Tom Holland get dusted in Infinity War, I was like, okay, they're all coming back.
Though, that if the trailer shows Yelena walking into it, you're like, okay, we're all coming back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, trailer.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. I've got I don't know if it's a hot take, but
yeah. So let's move to that portion of the program. Hot take, Jay. Let's hear it.
I'm curious. Okay. Sebastian Stan, Bucky Barnes, he doesn't have much of a story in this movie.
Yeah.
And some people will say, well, they wasted a really great character and a really great actor. But I don't I guess the question I would pose to you is, if you were writing Bucky's story, what would it be? If you were writing a Bucky film, what would it be about? I don't really understand what Marvel's doing with him. I don't understand why he's a congressperson or a House representative or whatever. Like, that doesn't make sense to me per se as far as storytelling. But whatever the case, like, he's never really been more than a guy that gives a couple funny lines,
right?
Or is a really bad dude in Winter Soldier. Like,
right.
Like, we don't really know anything about him other than he's Captain America's friend. So, like, did they ruin a character that's beloved?
Yeah.
Or, like, did they just use him like they've always used him? And there's really just not much going on there.
Yeah.
And so what my hot take is, like, what would you have done differently, Kyle? And, like, does it really matter?
I think your point is really well made in that this is what we've gotten from him. You know, I think maybe the Captain America Falcon show on Disney Plus kind of delved into his character just a little bit more.
Yeah,
but
he was fun.
Yeah. And sort of the wrestling match between he and Sam as to, you know, who's really going to carry the shield. You know, but yeah, pretty much he's, you know, strong and silent type by and large. Pretty face. That's, you know, that's and you know, can hold his own in a fight, though. After
most likely to play Luke Skywalker in a movie.
That's what they keep saying.
Yeah,
and he is, and he is my dream, Kurt Cobain for the Dead Rock Stars.
Yeah, that's true.
Put some blonde hair on him. He could be a mean Kurt Cobain. He could brood for sure.
What a versatile actor to go from Bucky Barnes to Luke Skywalker to President Trump to Kurt Cobain.
Okay, so what was hilarious, and I think he may have done this on purpose because he's a clever guy. If you have seen what was the Trump? Was it called The Apprentice? Was that the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, if you've seen The Apprentice, I haven't seen it, but I've seen a lot of clips. His first lines in the movie when he shows up and it's like a press conference or there's a reporter asking him a question, he went straight Donald Trump. Like, say a whole lot of nothing, you know. It's like, oh, it's very disturbing. There's a lot of things that are worrying, and we're going. The constituency deserves better, you know. Like he didn't do the voice, but he was doing his Donald Trump impersonation in that moment. It was really funny.
He was definitely doing the speak of a politician who says nothing.
Yes, exactly.
So
I thought that was great. So you know, I don't know that I would. I guess maybe the complaint would be like, here's the chance for him to really be the first line in a movie. He's not had that. He's always been the sidekick, and he still didn't get it. He wasn't
written for him that way.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we thought he was going to be like some leader or whatever, but I mean, like, he didn't even show up in the fights that much.
Except for when he rolled up like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2 on the motorcycle and the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Like, I got chills, man.
Well, and flipping the shotgun like Schwarzenegger.
Like Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
It was good.
And of course, Red Guardian going, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
You know, like, his excitement.
He's so cool. He is so cool.
Very full, very filled.
He is so cool.
Oh, he's my favorite. That leads me to my hot take, Jay. Here's my hot take.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
This movie is a commentary on generations. All right. This movie is a commentary on generations. And let me break it down. I'll try not to ramble, but let me break it down. Bucky is the boomers. Okay. Bucky is the boomers. He doesn't have much to say because he's sort of, you know, phasing out, or he's getting toward the end of his life. But when he does say, he's going to tell you what he thinks, and he's going to tell you what you need to do. All right. So, hey, you can sit here and live in this. You can face your past, and you can get going with your life. All right. He doesn't like to think. He doesn't like change much. You know, Bucky, read the packets. I don't want to read the packets. You know, so Bucky's the boomer. All right. Red Guardian's Gen X. All he wants it to be is the 80s again, man. He just wants to go back to the 80s. He wants to get back in his red suit. You know, he wants to go to that Soviet parade and be celebrated. But he'll be there for you. He'll be there for you when you need him. Okay. Here's the hot take. Here's the controversy. All right. Captain America, my friend Brandon Palmore, his daughter Olivia, coined the phrase Captain America for U.S. agent Walker. For Walker. Walker and Ghost are the twin flames of the millennials. All right. We'll do the good one first. We'll do Ghost. You know, they're just kind of quiet. They do their thing, but sometimes they disappear. You're like, where'd they go? But they show up when you need them. All right. The bad stereotype of millennials, Agent Walker. Millennials are intolerable. And Walker was intolerable the whole movie. until the end when he started to turn just a little bit. And that's where millennials are right now. They're starting to get older. They're starting to have kids. They're starting to like get out of their ways, and they're starting to turn just a little bit. And lastly, Bob and Yelena are Gen Z, where they have this darkness in their soul. They've been doom scrolling all their lives, and they know it's wrong, and they got to do something about it. They got to get out of it. They got to get out of this darkness that could eat them alive. And you see one who's working on it. You see Elena, who is like recognizing, I've got to make changes. I'm lonely. I've got to make changes. And then Bob, who needs the community to help him come around him to make the changes that he needs. So that's my hot take. The Thunderbolts asterisk are a commentary on the generations. That's what I see.
I can buy every turn that you just made except for the Gen X one. I feel like boomers are mostly associated with the 80s. I think most Gen Xers, they're all about 1990, 92, 93. The birth of grunge. And
it was more
flannel.
so just wanting to go back to the glory days, man. Like I'm late 40s, I'm early 50s, and man, I just want to go back to when I rocked. I think that's
take that.
That's the Gen X piece.
I think that's great. Yeah, I'll take that.
But he will be there for you. He will fight to the death for you. If he loves you, if you're his daughter, if you're on his team, he'll give his very life for you. So yeah, that's my take. It's a little half baked, but
I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty dang good.
I love calling millennials intolerable. Sorry, millennial listeners. Sorry.
Yeah. I think they know. They know they are.
They know, and they're coming out of it. See, just like Agent Walker, just like Ghost, they're coming out of it. They're figuring.
They don't have a choice.
They're figuring out how to adult. Their kids are starting to smart talk them a little bit, and they're like, "What do I do, man?" I guess I mean,
they tried to work for 6 months a year, but like they realized that after a while, nobody wants you. Right. Like you got to work.
You got to go to work. Yeah.
Got to go to work. Got to show up.
And you may not be entitled to 3 weeks of vacation right out of the chute. You may have to earn it.
Oh, that's
sorry.
Good.
Sorry,
no, that's good. It's the Thunderbolts here. The lightning bolts for the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, let's do it, man. How many lightning bolts the lightning bolt on display here? How many lightning bolts would you give the Thunderbolts?
I'm going to say 4.5.
Wow.
I think it hits storytelling wise. It's a very complete story. It starts and ends and is really well written. The acting is good. Special effects are cool. It's a really cool looking film. The music's good. He kind of does everything you want a good movie to do. There are nitpicks. The nitpicks about everything. That's why It's not five lightning bolts. But I'd give it 4. It's on my scale 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to go 3.5 lightning bolts. Simply because I didn't really get into this too much, but my expectation was I thought it was going to be like the original Avengers film, in the way they came together as a team throughout the course of the story, and then won the day in the end. That was my expectation. I kept thinking like, hey, we're going to have this team thing. We're going to have this team up. They're going to hate each other the whole movie, and then they're going to figure it out at the end, and they're going to beat the bad guy, and it's going to be just like Avengers in 2012, the original, and it wasn't that at all. They had their squabbles. They had a moment, like 3/4 of the way through the movie when they curse each other out, and they all were like, I hate you. I hate your guts. But then they all sort of, came together when the Void showed up and Yelena went in. They all went in after her, and they sort of, they formed that team there in the darkness together, and they were going to be there for one another. And so that the second viewing, when I could release that expectation of what it was going to be and receive it for what it was, really hit me in that much better place.
So first viewing would be like a 3, and second viewing a 4, and you landed at 3.5.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's a really good assessment. Yeah,
okay.
3.5 lightning bolts.
Yeah,
for me. Yeah,
I would say in the theater I was at a 3.5.
Yeah. After
I talked about it and thought about it and kind of processed what they did, 4.5 for me. It's smart. It is a smart film. It's a smart director. It's some really good acting, and I don't know that you could ask for a whole bunch more. I mean, the fight scenes were super fun, and I don't know that you could do a whole lot more for me.
Will you watch it again? Is it one you'll like revisit?
Yeah, I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
It's not on the level. Like for me, the most rewatchable Marvel film is Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
That's probably the one that's the most rewatchable for me. That's a fun one. Those fight scenes are memorable and fun. I'd probably watch this again. It's not on that level. It's not Guardians level, but it's up there.
Yeah.
It's more so than most. I won't go back and watch Red Hulk or Brave New World. I won't go watch several of the ones that have come out in the last couple of years. But I would watch this again. I'd go to the theater and watch it again. I wouldn't have any problems with it.
Yeah.
I think that it is chock full of little details that make it more interesting every go around. If we're moving to kind of a little bit of a wrapping things up, is it possibly one of the better in credit scenes that we've seen in the 14 months later?
I struggled with that in credit scene a little bit. For a couple of reasons. I mean, I was talking to one of my sons on the way to school this morning about this. I was like, I think I might be wrong, but I think that scene will be in Doomsday. I think that will be maybe even like one of the opening scenes of Doomsday, or it could be, because I don't think it's going to be the end of Fantastic Four. Unless it's maybe like the first scene of Fantastic Four, and then they go back and say how we got here, possibly. But I think it'll be in Doomsday. So, I was sort of like, I get the hanging Chad element of, Falcon's not happy or Sam Wilson's not happy that they're called the Avengers. I laughed really hard at the Avengers with a Z. I really liked Elena's, "This is why we're Avengers with Z." I really liked that line. I liked especially the second time you're noticing that, Bob's still not better. But he's there and they're with him, they're not going to leave him. So I kind of was like, okay. I mean, it wasn't one of those that like, when I think back to the end credit scenes, I think about the Age of Ultron when we saw the twins for the first time and they're like, we're in the age of miracles. Like that got me so fired up for like, what's next? What's it going to be? Talking about, Quicksilver and,
Scarlet Witch.
It's Scarlet Witch. Yeah. I guess that wasn't Age of Ultron. I don't remember which movie that was, but that was an end credit scene. The one where they from Winter Soldier, or actually it was Captain America, Civil War, when they had Bucky's arm in a vice, and Sam and Cap are talking about like, hey, we can't do this. We can't call this in after the Accords. It's like, what are they talking about? Like that really got me excited. This didn't really get me super excited for what was to come. What'd you like about it so much?
I liked seeing them 14 months later. I liked seeing Bucky's hair teased up. I liked Bob over in the corner in his beanbag. I liked the Avengers with a Z. I liked the Fantastic Four reveal. I thought that was, they did a lot of things there. They were like, okay, what's going on with Sam? What's going on with the other Avengers? Who are the other Avengers?
Yeah.
Why is this Rocket here? Why are the Fantastic Four here? If the Fantastic Four is set in the 60s, then what are they doing here? And how does that work? And what's going on? What's going to happen? And furthermore, all those hints kind of push you towards the possibility of what Dr. Doom is with Robert Downey Jr. in Doomsday. Like all those things, I think it did a really good job of keeping the Thunderbolts humor with a bunch of teasers for what's to come.
Yeah. So it hit you in the way that those other ones hit me, whereas this one didn't hit me that way. Because, it's kind of funny is they spoiled it, and there's nothing you can do about this. But the last thing that shows on credits before the end credit scene at Marvel always is the soundtrack, like the music. And both me and one of my sons noticed Fantastic Four theme. What? You could see it. And so I was like, well, that's going to be in the end credit scene. So like, I knew like it was spoiled for now. They can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
But I knew that was coming. So I was like, oh, we're about to get a Fantastic Four reveal, in this end credit. So maybe that's part of what, why it didn't hit me.
Well, Kyle,
as hard as it could.
I'll say this. We were expecting to go 30 minutes and we're capping out at 50 right now.
We're getting toward 50. Well, let me ask you, would you recommend the Thunderbolts?
I don't think I would necessarily recommend the Thunderbolts to children. I don't think I would necessarily recommend the Thunderbolts to maybe 10-year-olds. I think when you start to hit middle school and you start to experience a little bit of trauma, I think it's probably a very valuable film. So I think while the content isn't racy, I would say that the content's a lot heavier than most Marvel films. So I would definitely recommend it to someone that maybe has lived a little bit of life in some way.
Interesting.
I would recommend it to anyone who's looking to have some fun and be thoughtful. I would recommend it. I think that for the most part, someone that's not familiar with Marvel could probably watch it and get a lot out of it and be okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you?
I think I would, because I think the heaviness of it would go over a lot of kids' heads. They would just think, oh, she's in these scary rooms and she has to relive this moment in her first kill, in the forest over and over again. And that's scary. I don't like that. But I don't think they would get the emotional weight of it, like for a child. I do wonder, someone who has...
It'd be scary, I think.
It would be kind of scary, yeah. For someone who has kind of faced some trauma, some addiction, some deep struggles with that, if it might be a little triggering, here I go sounding like a millennial. I'm teasing, but you know what I mean? Like if it would be kind of like, this is not what some people might watch it and go, this is not what I want from my Marvel. I don't want to have to come to Marvel and be faced with my demons. I want to come escape my demons. So I could see someone who maybe has some deep hurt in their life, want no part of it, see it once and be like, yeah, I'm done with that one. Is a little bit like Wakanda Forever. The second Black Panther film was like, I don't think I ever want to see that again, because it was so hard to watch, because the whole thing was a eulogy to Chadwick Boseman. And it was so painful. The whole movie was so painful and sad, and so I think there could be an element of that for some people. Now, I loved what it was saying about, togetherness, community, found family, friends that are more like family. I loved that. And so I would recommend it. Yeah. But if somebody was like, I don't know if the traumatic part might be a little too much, I could say maybe sit this one out.
I'm going to gently push a little bit. I don't think you're wrong, but I do think that they were delicate in the way they handled the shame rooms.
Sure. Yeah.
They were cartoony type events, somebody getting their hands whipped because they couldn't put a gun together fast enough. Like nobody's really experienced that. Somebody leading another person out into the woods to kill them. I don't know that that's typically in people's shame room. The one that was the closest was the, what's that?
Bob's.
Yeah. Bob's in the attic and he's looking down on what's going on down there. And like the way they handled that was gentle. Yeah. And so I think they were very thoughtful and caring towards not triggering anyone, but at the same time, extremely relatable.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I think that you are right. It could really upset some people that have had trauma, but I also think it could be quite cathartic.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I thought it was great. I thought it was a great way to begin our season 2.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing, man.
Yeah.
I hope all the movies are good. I would just say, you mentioned the great Ryan Coogler offhanded, and I would just say that man, that dude's killing it. And
you are so excited for Sinners. I was about to say Skinners for Sinners. I know no one in my life who is as excited about Sinners than you, man. You are.
Just watch the Ringer podcast. They're probably gushing.
They're pumped. They are pumped about it.
They're probably gushing. But it's a modern masterpiece. I'm sticking to it. Modern masterpiece.
Now that I can go to movies willy-nilly, man, I'll probably go see it. I'm excited.
You'll probably hate it because I've talked about it so much.
No, I'll give it a chance.
It's really quite good. And I don't know that there's another thing that's quite like that genre. What that movie is, I can't explain it. But man, I'm excited about the other stuff we're gonna hit. I know we're doing Fantastic Four.
Should we say what's next?
Yeah, let's talk about a couple. We're gonna hit Fantastic Four. We're gonna hit
dun 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 dun.
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Yeah, Final Reckoning. Final Reckoning. Yes. And truthfully, I Monday have been Mission Mondays in the Wiltshire house. We've been going through all of them, and I'm missing Mission Impossible 5. It's Rogue Nation. I'm missing that right now for this podcast. So we wrap up, and I'm going to go maybe pop that in, watch that one with the fam, so we can be prepared for the final reckoning. I need you to trust me one more time, last time.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a pet peeve of mine. Somebody tells you you need to trust them. It's
it is. You made me write that out of the book. You made me write that out of the book. You did. You didn't like that. You're like, anytime someone says trust me, they're not trustworthy. Wouldn't that be funny if Ethan Hunt's proven to be the villain the whole time?
After takes his mask off and he's I can't think of the guy's name. He's dadgummit, Kyle, old person moment. I can't think of his daughter's name either. Oh my gosh, I'm losing it.
I'm not following. I'm not smelling what you're stepping in.
First movie, famous actor, much older.
Jim. I've watched it recently. Yeah, Jim was his character in the movie.
Yeah,
his daughter's Angelina Jolie. John Voight. Yes. He's John Voight.
Now I'm going to ruin the joke. I've already ruined the joke because I couldn't pull it off. But like Tom Cruise is going to rip off his mask and he's John Voight.
He's John Voight. Yeah.
We're going to be like, what? How do we get? What in the looper just happened?
I think John Voight's been canceled. I don't think they'll let him be in a movie anymore.
Is he dead? Is he alive?
I think he's alive. I think. Yeah. But he's kind of gone like full Republican. So you do that in Hollywood and you're done.
Once you go full Republican.
You can't come back from that.
You can go half,
partial,
half Republican. Yeah,
part Republican, but you can't go full Republican. You know what the Academy feels about going full Republican. Hey, Jay, I want to end our podcast on this note. We can build this thing together, standing here together. Nothing's going to stop us now, Jay. Nothing's going to stop us now.
Nothing is going to stop us now.
I wish we could play the music. I wish we had the rights.
We can't, but we can play this.